Welcome back to Bricks and Buckets, Season 3, Episode 19. Of course, I'm Nico.
I'm Bono.
I'm Brooklyn.
I'm Nick.
I'm Jamarius.
Yeah, we got a 2-camera setup right now. This is pretty sick, and
This is impressive. This is progress.
this is progress.
Is this the first one back at school?
This is the first one back.
We're all back in person.
We missed Rob. Rob's not here,
Rob isn't.
but
here.
Rob sent in his list.
Yep. Rob is. Yep.
So shooting guards today. That's the whole topic. Not much news-wise, but we're late to the Donovan Mitchell news. That's big.
Yep.
And then we're doing our top 10 shooting guards. So before we get to the list, we obviously have to break down this Donovan Mitchell trade, which I had the full details on my computer and then I deleted it.
I'm just gonna say this though. Jazz, huge win. Huge
That's not
win.
what everybody's saying.
Honestly,
That's what I.
yeah.
Future-wise?
Future-wise, 100%.
Imagine getting seven first-round picks
And two
for
young
both
guys.
of them.
And two
and
young
like what
guys.
is it, like 5 pick swaps or something
Yeah,
like
yeah, something crazy. But they got a young guy, you know.
that? Additionally, getting rid of
Colin
what, almost
Sexton.
$100 million.
Yeah, so
Listen,
Colin Sexton will be given the keys to Utah. You know, he'll do his thing.
Colin Sexton is
Laurie
very
Markkinen's good. I mean, they got good value for what they were gonna get. in my
And
opinion. Like,
7 first-round
and
picks.
7 first-round picks. But I think that's probably the best package the Jazz could have gotten.
but the reports have been saying that other teams, like the Knicks were a big team, they were saying that they could have offered more.
They
I mean,
could've.
full trade had 3 unprotected first-round picks, 2 pick swaps, Colin Sexton, Laurie Markkinen, and then do you guys know how to pronounce his name? I should have looked this up
Was
beforehand.
that O'Shea
Agbaji?
Yeah, which was another guy drafted this year. So in both the Gobert trades and the Donovan Mitchell trades, the Jazz brought in not only 5 for Gobert, 3 here, and 2 swaps, but they also grabbed 2 guys that were drafted this year. Essentially, call it 2 more first-round picks. Sexton hasn't played all year, obviously, but when he was there, undersized 2 that will probably be playing the 1 there. Good defender for his size. Good
I'd say
scoring.
above average defender for his size. I mean,
Definitely a downgrade from Donnie Mitch.
Hundred
but-
percent.
That being said, also for him being a 2, I forgot about him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As
Colin
in Colin
Sexton?
Sexton?
Yeah.
I don't think he really cracks the top 10, though.
No.
Maybe he cracks top
Maybe
15.
maybe top
Maybe
top 15.
I mean,
Maybe top 15.
definitely top 15.
Yeah.
I think top 10 you can definitely argue,
I mean,
especially for a guy that averaged when he was healthy
24.
24.
Yeah, in 60 games 2 seasons ago, 24 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Efficiency-wise, 47 from the field, 37 from 3. I mean, it just seemed like an average shooting guard, but obviously now...
I feel like that's not average.
I mean, the
That's
24...
still, statistically,
The
that's still
24
better
is
than-
good, but the
It was
3
on
and
a bad
4s
Cleveland team, though.
Yeah,
It's like the
but
SGA argument.
I mean, but I still would put that over Norman
SGA
Powell.
on the TV, too. What great
I would still put that over like Norman Powell and like Gary Trent Jr. though.
No, I would
Those are
100%.
completely different roles for that team.
But who wins the trade?
Who wins? Jazz.
The Jazz.
I would.
I would say
mean,
Cleveland.
obviously, I mean, you're gonna say Cleveland because
they're
you're
gonna be
adding
a top
Donovan
14.
Mitchell to Darius Garland and Jared Allen.
Colin Sexton on the TV now.
Yeah, and Evan Mobley. I mean,
I just see it as
They did not
your-
give away any key pieces at all.
it's a
You
good.
didn't, but like you didn't give up anything, and you got Donovan Mitchell. But at the same time, the Jazz for both Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, you get everything. You got anything you could get, and you got it. And over the
Jesus, Ty.
Technical producer.
technical difficulties
Technical producer.
back there.
Can't even hear
But realistically, I think give them either 5 years or 6 years. I understand that's a long time. They could be in a situation like the Thunder is right now, where they're not really moving anywhere, or they could do something big.
To go off your point, I think there's 2 different ways you can look at this trade. If you're looking at like a win now, I mean Cleveland obviously, but like for the future, I mean like the Cavs, they gave up a lot, but I mean like
Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen.
Jared Allen, that's a
In a stacked
really good team.
in a stacked East, where does that fall?
Like a 5 seed.
4 or 5.
Like,
yeah.
what's
4 or
their
5.
peak?
I'd say
What's
5,
the
6.
ceiling? What's the floor?
Their peak is 3. Their floor is 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I say they're a playoff team now.
For
100%.
sure.
Better than a playing team.
What about Jazz? Are
They're
they a
maybe-
play-in
lottery.
team?
Maybe a
lottery.
playing team.
Honestly, I see the Cavs in a similar position as like the Bulls this year, where they just add a decently big piece, and then who knows what happens? Maybe
If they
they'll
can
do
stay
amazing,
healthy.
But if they can stay healthy,
If they can stay healthy, because the Bulls had that problem. They probably would have been a better team than they were if they didn't have injury problems.
So
all
quickly,
year.
Bleacher Report put out an article about an hour ago saying that the Jazz didn't trade Star to Cavs over Knicks based on emotions.
That's great.
They were mad that he wanted to leave, so they said, you know what, we're not going to send you home. We're going to send you to Cleveland.
I like it though.
I think Cleveland's
that,
a better situation
that,
for him.
the starting five
It
is
is,
nasty.
Yeah, like
Personally,
But
I wouldn't have appreciated him on the Knicks.
yeah, I just
What? Time out.
This is my
You gotta
take. This
take
is
whatever
this-
you can get.
Time out.
I
This
know.
is my take because you would have had to get rid of R.J. Barrett in the first place, probably Mitchell Robinson, and still like, from seeing like reports, Obi Toppin and like 5 other first round
Well,
picks.
first of all, you're paying 3 people $350 million, which and they're not even superstar players at that.
yeah, that's true.
So you get rid of money and you have a crap load of money that you go into free agency next year.
Not really, because they would still have Julius Randle on the books. They would just be taking on Donovan Mitchell, and they just paid Jalen Brunson. They would still be paying.
How much is Mitchell?
what if
How much is
that's-
Mitchell getting?
But like,
Probably, like, around
if this is
35.
Mitchell got a supermax.
Did
when
he?
was
40?
eligible. Yeah, he got
if
that.
whatever it was.
if this is the trade that Cleveland got, like you're telling me, if you want to format it the same way, the Knicks send Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Probably, if you're thinking like the Colin Sexton comparison, if it's not going to be Brunson or RJ, it's probably quickly. And then at that point, you throw in Mitch Robb and whatever. Like you'd probably have to give up more picks than Cleveland did.
Definitely.
But I think you could definitely still keep RJ and find. I mean,
It's a really more about the money thing, if anything.
Apparently, a big thing also was they wanted Quentin Grimes, and the Knicks did not want to give him up.
That part I don't get. Quentin Grimes is good, but you know, like
it's Donovan Mitchell.
He's good, but Tibbs does not know.
Yeah,
how
You
to
don't,
do it.
you,
it's
you don't
Donovan
need
Mitchell.
Grimes and Quickly and Mitchell. You don't need all 3.
Yeah.
And you definitely like if you're prioritizing Grimes, that's kind of crazy. But speaking of crazy, I think that to go back to the seeding thing, I think this Jazz team can be a play-in team.
I agree.
Like
Playing, yeah.
Clarkson, you've
I
got
think they
Sexton now. I think Markkanen still Markkanen is like it's a low risk, high reward trade thing. Like he's still pretty young. He still could turn into something. Utah's known for like their team basketball.
Would Conley be the one still?
probably.
Conley
yeah.
would still be the one there.
Yes.
So Sexton would still be a two.
I mean, Clarkson off the bench though. He's still their best scorer. I mean,
no, yeah,
Sexton
he would
now.
still come off the
Sexton
bench.
now.
And
but
I
yeah.
bet he would end up playing like the 3 off
Colin
the bench.
also brings a intensity on defense that they just don't have.
That's
Which should
true.
be good for them.
That's actually very true.
So I think this team could be like it's not like ceiling
Who's their 5?
like 7 seed.
Royce O'Neal. No, not even
Floor?
Royce O'Neal
Yeah, Royce
anymore.
O'Neal.
Derek Favors?
Lottery
14
like
seed.
yeah.
Because
is it
like
Derek Favors?
Is it really?
No, Derek Favors
Yeah.
might not even. Is it Derek
I
Favors?
believe it is
still?
Derek Favors,
Is he
yeah.
I
still
don't
on
know
the
if
Jazz?
I like that.
Didn't the Nets trade a first round pick for
Favors
Favors?
on the Thunder.
No, they traded
There's
O'Neal for
Oh
a first
yeah,
round pick,
yeah, which was
Yeah, we
still
got it.
which
random.
was random.
Nice job.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the good episode.
So speaking of shooting guard,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean anything like
Oh yeah,
It-
that's just signed you to wannabe.
breaking news. Before we go to shooting guards, around the table, letter grades for both the Jazz and the Cavs. Nick to like all around.
The Cavs, I'll give this an A because they just went out and traded for an all-star and they didn't really have to give up. I mean, and on paper it looks like a lot, but when you look at the depth chart of this Cavs team, it's really not a lot to their core lineup that they would want to go with. So I'd give the Cavs an A. And Jazz, I would also give them an A just for what they got back. Young, important pieces that they're going to need for the future, and they're stocked on draft picks that if they want to make a big move next
Yes.
off season, they could, or they want to conserve it. So I'd say both. It is a win on both sides, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of agree. The Jazz, I'm gonna give a B minus, only because if you're looking at it now, they're not. I can't see them doing anything in like the next 2 or 3 years. That's gonna be big unless they make moves. But if they don't, and those draft picks come out to be like good lottery picks, then they're gonna be in the same position as the Thunder were. And then in like 5 or 6 years, they're going to be one of the top teams in the league. And the Cavs, I would give them an A because they got a big piece that they needed without having to give up too much.
I think within the next 2 years, if the Cavs don't win, then that's a hard like D. But like if
He's so young though.
Yes.
I don't
Yeah,
think it's. I
still
don't think
young,
a
but,
two. I
like-
don't think a 2 year window.
I
Is,
think
Okay,
if
fine.
he does, I think if they don't win and he wants to leave again, if he doesn't resign,
If he
then
pulls
it's
a James
loss.
Harden?
yeah, if it's a loss, then yeah.
yeah, I would see that, or if he tries to force his way out or something. But the Jazz, I would give an A, a solid A. But like I said, if they make the playoffs, they do something with Donovan Mitchell, I'd give him a solid A.
Yeah.
I
I think it might work though.
That's
Him
pretty
and
solid.
Garland are buddy on Twitter. If you've been seeing, they're tweeting at each other constantly.
I'll give the Jazz a B minus. I think it's pretty clear. Like, I'm not the craziest about like the first round pick value has gone so low, but if Cleveland's good, I mean, look at the drafts. If it's a late first round pick, how valuable is that? I mean, usually there's one or two guys in every draft maybe that come out and end up being that that guy.
A rotational piece,
Um,
if anything.
For Cleveland, I mean, I would just I can't give it a complete A, but I'll give it an A minus. I love Donovan
respect
Mitchell,
that.
but I think it's I don't think it's an A trade is like a complete almost like a complete fleece in a sense where they still gave up a lot, but at the same time, I mean, you give it a 2-year window, like that starting lineup: Garland, Sexton, Okoro, Mobley, Allen. Who's the oldest? Jared Allen. I mean, maybe Donovan Mitchell at 26, 27 at
26,
most.
Yeah.
26.
It's his birthday today. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, D-Mitch.
But that is an incredibly young starting five that is ready to win now.
Yeah.
That's scary. So for me, Jazz B minus, Cavs A minus.
One thing before Brooklyn before you go, this
Yeah,
puts
Brooklyn sucks.
this is gonna make it like in the next couple years. I'm starting to see that Bronny and LeBron are either going to go to Utah or Oklahoma at this point.
No way LeBron goes to Utah.
Wherever Bronny goes is where he's
It's
going.
gonna be a market though. Like the NBA can't let Bronny and Bron go ball out in Utah. I
They
love the
also-
Jazz, but they're not
they
gonna.
also
do that.
said that what was it that year? I think
He's
the
gonna be a
Thunder
free
have like 3 first-round picks in 2025 or something like that. So like
And Bron's gonna be a free agent, so he's not signing until Bronny.
He
goes
just
to
signed
Utah.
a new.
It's for
with
2
a-
years.
with a
Yeah.
player
Lakers
option
on
that
that
year.
It's
Yeah.
2 years.
Also,
yeah.
Bronny was ranked 24th in the class right now. Like he's not a top 10 pick. I mean, unless LeBron's
But
value
He's
is
still
that
got
high.
plenty of time
Yeah.
before he's even considering declaring for the
I'm
draft.
sorry,
though.
Brooklyn.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
just
go
got
ahead.
you just got
I
sidelined.
gotta say, for the Cavs, I gotta go with Nico to A minus because it didn't exactly fleece the Jazz or anything. But Donovan Mitchell's gonna be a really great piece for them. It's really only gonna tell like their time whether or not, like how Nick pointed out, how if they don't re-sign him, then that trade kind of drops. But then for the Jazz, I'm gonna give them like a B minus because they got solid value for Mitchell, but the first round picks definitely have dropped in terms of what you can get for that. So yeah, I gotta go A minus and B minus.
Ty Coney, producer. Who wins this trade? Just straight up, Jazz or Cavs? Cavs?
Cavs?
Okay, well, I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
But, all right.
I mean, yeah.
So we'll be right back. We're going to be talking about our top 10 rankings for the shooting guards. And then, gradient effect. That's all I do. That's literally all I do a gradient wipe, and that's it. and then I do a whoosh. Like, so it
3, 2,
1.
And then when you go also that.
Why did you start
Oh my
talking?
god!
What do you mean?
As
Shut
in
up,
3, 2,
Ty.
1, we're going back to it.
What?
3,
2, 1.
Top 10 shooting guards. Again, we've got 6 lists this time. No Rob here, but we'll be shouting out the list. Started off number 1. The number 1 ranked player on 4 out of 6. So, of course, the 2 that didn't, I'm going to have you guys take the floor here. But the number 1 ranked shooting guard that we have is Devin Booker of the Suns, which also, of every position, I feel like before we were recording, Bono said it best, like it's the shooting guard is the supporting cast role.
Yeah.
Booker last season, nearly 27 points per game, 5 rebounds, almost 5 assists. There was a slight thought in my head where I wanted to put Jaylen Brown at 1, but for me, Booker was the easy pick. Bono agreed with that. Rob, Brooklyn, the same. But Nick and Jamarius, you guys sit next to each other for a reason, I guess. Nick had Booker 3. Jamarius has him 5.
I do.
For more than half of us thinking he's the best overall shooting guard, have multiple names ahead of him. That's a surprise.
I do.
I only have 1.
Why?
I only have 1 name ahead of him. Because
You actually have 2.
I actually have 2.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah, I actually have 2. I have Jaylen Brown as my number 1. That might be a
Surprise,
little
surprise.
biased.
Yeah.
Might be a little biased. But as you said, it's the best. It's the supporting cast of the point guard, right? In my opinion, Jaylen Brown is the best. He's great offensively, but defensively, I just feel like out of everybody on this list, maybe Klay Thompson, if he wasn't almost 30 years old and actually had healthy legs, is the best at scoring and defensively. And I just feel like when Jaylen Brown is on the floor, like teams are looking to how to focus on him away on defense. Like when you look at like Devin Booker, like you're gonna call an ISO on Devin Booker if he's guarding you. You're not gonna call an ISO on Jaylen Brown if he's guarding you. That's just my opinion, how I look at it. I don't
Can
know
you, can
about
you just
that.
can you say in a full sentence that I think Jaylen Brown is better than Devin Booker? Like overall.
I personally do think
Chat,
that
clip it.
I
Clip it, chat.
I personally think Jaylen Brown and Donovan Mitchell are better than Devin Booker.
All
You
right.
can average 27 all you want. That's great. That's awesome. But when it comes playoff time and you don't do anything, and personally, when I just hate you as a person, I just
find it funny you
I
say
just
that.
don't-
because
Very
Donovan
biased.
Mitchell
I
has been
just-
averaging like 25 points per game for the past 3 years. He
I
hasn't
just-
done anything really.
I just
So I
think-
mean,
Also doesn't have much defensively.
I'd also just rather Donovan Mitchell take the last shot than Devin Booker.
You just like Spider-Man.
no,
You just like Spider-Man.
I like Spider, man. I don't know. I like
Um,
Spider.
Before Jamarius backs him up, why is Booker 1?
I think it's just because he's a bona fide scorer in terms of like how deadly he is at being a sharpshooter.
I thought for a second you were going to say bona fide stud.
Yeah, he's just a stud.
He's just
He
a
is,
stud,
he is.
bro.
He is.
He's just an all-around better shooter, and I mean, defensively stuff can change like that. But I will say Jaylen Brown defensively is 10 times better than Devin. But it comes to the guy you dump it off to just score. I would rather take Devin Booker for a shot than Jaylen Brown or Donovan Mitchell.
Does it add anything that even though Booker has, I believe, like 2 years on Jaylen Brown, he's 6 years younger, still does that account for any? I know it's going into next year, but Booker is a vet and
No.
is going into his age 26 season.
I know. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's crazy. I don't know. It's just, to me, I feel like you need defense too, and it's just clearly if you have a backcourt of Chris Paul and Devin Booker, it's been shown that can be taken advantage of with no defense at all. You can score, you can average 30 all you want, but when you get blown up by 50 at home to the Mavericks, it's not a good
You
look.
don't show up
Yeah,
in the playoffs.
Jamarius.
I'm just saying, in
like,
my opinion, it's
Did
not
Devin Booker personally do something to you?
All right,
for him
now-
to be this low?
Now it's not Levine, Mitchell, and Booker. Them three can easily just be swapped in and out. I'm just looking at it as, like you said, we're going into next year. I just see Zach Levine taking that step as the secondary option to DeMar DeRozan on the Bulls next year. I think that that everybody got hurt on that team last year, so it kind of hurt everyone in their own ways. And they were one of the best teams in the league before then, and he was playing at a crazy level.
Suns were the 1 seed. They were higher ranked over the Bulls for most of
The
it.
Bulls were also a 1 seed
For a while. Yeah, and then
for
they
a
fell
while,
apart.
and then Levine went down, and then from
Everyone
there.
went down.
Levine,
Exactly.
everyone
Levine and
went
Booker
Especially
switch
Caruso.
spots. Again, this is the debate. I always bring
Levine
this
and
up.
Booker switch spots. The Suns are going to be better, I believe. Because now I'm not saying Devin Booker's bad, but offensively you can do more with Zach Levine. You can. He's more than just a shooter.
I mean, yeah, he's more
he can get to the
athletic.
back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's-
You can do
that's-
more. You can do more with him on the offensive side, and that will help Chris Paul a lot because he can.
I was just gonna say, actually, who would you think would complement Chris Paul better?
Zach Levine,
Devin
100%.
Booker or Zach Levine?
Zach Levine.
Yes.
I mean, their shooting splits are
Alfred
almost
Shaker.
identical. Everything's almost identical with them. But Booker, slight edge in points, and I
I
think
was basing my top 10 off of the situation that they're in on their team.
Okay.
Not only skill, because we've seen guys that are on terrible teams that average 30 and they're top 10, but for instance, Jaylen Brown, you're on the finals. He makes a huge impact.
He was the
on
best
that
player
team.
in the finals.
He was
if
the
you
best
ask me.
players in the
Except he
finals.
couldn't dribble.
We'll talk about that another day.
But
I
let's
voiced my
anyway,
opinion
let's-
on that
Like 6
already.
turnovers per game.
Yeah, I voiced my opinion on, but again, Donovan Mitchell going into next season, I feel like he's gonna be top 10 player in Cleveland,
stick with
just based
Jalen.
off of that alone.
So, yes, I do have. Devin Booker is number 5 on my list. And number 4, I have Donovan Mitchell. We already had the Donovan Mitchell spiel, so I'm not even going to go into that because we already did that.
Yeah.
Number 3, Zach Levine. Just did that. So, those 3 right there can easily be boom, 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 switched around, however you want to put it. Then I have Jaylen Brown at number 2, one of the best defenders in the league. Very underrated on the offensive end, if you ask me. And I'm not even a Celtics guy. He's just a dog. He was clearly the best player on the Celtics
When Tatum
in the
can't-
finals.
Yeah.
Had they won the finals, he should have won. He would have won Finals MVP in my opinion.
He was my pick for finals.
And number 1, I do have Bradley Beal.
Wait, save that though. Save that because
That's crazy.
as much as I want to go through every list, the best way to do is for us to do our combined bricks and buckets
Yeah.
total list. Because Bradley Beal, like we're having the same argument. You had Devin Booker all the way down there. When we get to Beal on our list, that's when you could praise that man.
Yeah.
But let's stay with 2. I think this one here was the most. I mean, we had a couple times where 5 out of 6 people chose the same player. Jaylen Brown was number 2 for everybody except for Nick. Nick voiced his reasons. I do say of the 2, and also camera-wise for everyone watching, I think we got one camera going down, so enjoy Nick and Jamarius right now. But Jaylen Brown, I think out of everyone that's in this top 10 list, as Ty's breaking everything, I think Jaylen Brown is the best defensive guard that's in the top 10 right now.
I just think that gives him
A step up.
big edge
Yeah.
just because of how the game's played today. Like, you need defense just because everybody can score now.
Yeah.
That's what they prioritize.
This is not just gonna be an audio file.
Yeah, I mean, now I'm really. This is interesting. We're just gonna put a nice picture up. We're all gonna.
The
Like,
card is full. It's already filled.
oh, nice.
Okay, run it back. Let's keep it going.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it going while
Welcome back to episode 20 of Brooks and Beer.
Ty's gonna keep messing with us while we keep talking, and if the camera turns back on, we know when. But since we already just ranted about Brown all the way, number 3 again, pretty even across the board. This is where actually Bono has him lower than most. We have Zach LaVine as our our 3rd shooting guard off the board. Nick putting obviously Booker there at 3. Jamarius got LaVine at 3, but Bono has Anthony Edwards as the 3rd best shooting guard. LaVine 2 spots below that.
This is a projection for next year. This is a projection for
I wish we had the cameras right now. Of course, the cameras go down when we get Jamarius at his peak.
This is a projection for next year. I want you to remember that. I just think we could potentially have seen a ceiling for a ceiling for Zach LaVine.
Oh my God! Oh.
Donovan Mitchell over the past 3 years averaged 25 points per game. I'm not going to discount that. I just want to see Anthony Edwards take that step up. This is a projection for next year. I mean, averaging 21 points per game.
My mind is flabbergasted.
Decent defense. Hold on. Number 1 overall pick, man. I think he will take that step up. I don't think it's that crazy saying that he'll do that.
I have him at 5.
I have him pretty low.
I mean, 5 to 3? I feel like that's...
But 3 is three is crazy.
Is it top 3 at that position, and then
You have him over Donovan.
next year.
You have him over Donovan Mitchell.
In next year.
Oh my God.
Is it possible?
I feel like this is not crazy saying in next year.
It is.
2022, 2023.
It is. It's not saying that he's bad, but it's crazy.
I feel like it's not let's say Donovan Mitchell sticks with the same thing that he's doing. Granted, different team. Maybe he'll even take a step down. Just a little bit.
He's playing with much better teammates.
I understand that, but he's not going to be taking as much shots. He'll be distributing a little bit more.
Ay, Dios mío.
But I just think if Anthony Edwards also got Rudy Gobert as well, which doesn't mean anything.
Rudy Gobert. Oh my God. Thank you. I'm glad you said that.
Don't say sucks.
No. Rudy Gobert is a trash kid.
He can't catch the ball. All he does is back some. He couldn't back down Dennis Schroeder. What was that, like 2 days ago? He couldn't do that.
$200 million. $200 million for 5 years.
The Timberwolves upgraded. Like, they are definitely going to be a higher seeded playoff team this year with Gobert. I don't think like Edwards, I think can average like a nice 23, 24. I think that's his, like, I don't think he's averaging more than that.
I think it's out of pocket to say you're seeing a ceiling from LaVine.
That was crazy. That was crazy.
I don't really think so.
I also don't really think so.
We've been waiting for him to do this for the past how many years?
Actually, a ceiling for LaVine? I think he hit his ceiling.
What do you? I mean, he's doing.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like, no, I feel like he's not gonna get any better than he is.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know.
He's been hurt. Like, he's been injured. But
yeah, but every time
what is he gonna do differently that he doesn't already do now?
I don't think it's different. I just think it's worked.
But if he doesn't, I believe you can fact check me if I'm wrong. But I believe before he got hurt this year, he was one of the top scorers in the league.
He was,
and at the same, I mean, he's a more efficient shooter from 3.
Last year he was better.
He's a better shooter than Edwards.
Zach Levine.
That was
better,
before.
and then-
No, yeah, but that's also before adding DeMar DeRozan and Lonzo Ball.
And
to
also,
your
you
team.
said
He's
DeMar is
taking
the
all the
one?
shots.
But this is what I'm saying. Like,
He's
I
the
feel
number
like
one option. Let's be real. DeMar is the
Like,
number one option.
I mean, maybe not. I could see
Or
this-
it's a 1A 1B situation.
more like that.
But I would
So,
say DeMar
anyways,
is
Bono
number
getting number 3.
Yeah, I mean, to go
Bono is
back
Anthony Edwards at number 3.
to I mean,
projection for
Levine.
next year.
Levine, I think, when compared to Edwards,
Hey, you must be back from Mike.
comparing Edwards and Levine, I think
Oh, Edwards right now is like last year definitely worse, but I think going into this year, I feel like
yeah, like
it's
this
still
is
better defense.
we all
Oh, yeah,
he
yeah.
could
Still
all be
better defense, and let's say you're like a point shy of 24. I don't think that's insane. You're still how many like assists and stuff. 4 and 4 like for Zach Levine and Anthony Edwards. Let me pull this up. I feel like about the same. I just don't think it's that crazy.
I think it's still kind of crazy.
Well, we will be right back right after this quick cut. Of course, we just did our
4 and
first
4.
3. So we'll be right back talking about our 4th best shooting guard. Devin Booker, Jaylen Brown, Zach Levine off the board. Number 4, the guy we've already talked about all 4 of these guys too much already, but number 4, Spida, Donovan Mitchell, the newest Cleveland Cavalier. Ranked, again, Bono has him a little bit lower, and I think Nick had him obviously higher. Everyone else had him at this 4 spot. So you got the floor again. Mitchell, lower than
Bradley
Levine.
Beal. Bradley Beal. That's all I'm saying. Bradley Beal. Yeah.
Geez, you're throwing me on the spot here. A lot of us have Beal and Donovan Mitchell like this, which you can convince me into Bradley Beal over Donovan Mitchell. I think you can, especially now if you're thinking team wise, Cleveland's going to be a lot better than Washington, but statistically, like. It makes sense for Donovan Mitchell's numbers to go down. Like, they're going to go down when you've got that many people.
Yeah, when you're playing with Darius Garland,
Like,
when you're playing with an all-star point guard.
I'm almost convincing myself into Bradley Beal because he's still going to average the same thing he's always been doing.
Only
Mitchell's numbers are going to go
reason why I
down.
had Mitchell at 6, I wanted Edwards in there. That's all.
But yeah, we've already talked so much about him. That's a pick we can move past because this next one, this is Jamarius' time to shine. Because number 5, as I just said, Bradley Beal. Again,
Numero uno.
Nick having Anthony Edwards at this spot. This obviously where Bono had Zach Levine and Jamarius, as you said, Bradley Beal. Your top-rated shooting guard that is averaged out in our list is 5.
Yes. But
Why? Why is he 1?
I've had him as the number 1 shooting guard for a couple years now, and this is before Russ got there, or was it? Yeah, before Russ got there, he averaged.
Russ was good in Washington.
2019, he averaged 30. 2020, he averaged 31. That's alongside Russ. Last year, he gets hurt. Granted, the team was still bad.
Efficiency went down big time.
It did. He gets hurt, and stuff like that happens. He played 40 games and averaged 23 on 45% shooting. With almost 7 assists to Kyle Kuzma and who else? Montrezl Harrell for half the games he played. I just think coming into next year, his numbers are gonna go back up drastically, and they're gonna be a much better team than they are. I do think that when it comes down to it, Bradley Beal is the best scoring shooting guard in the league, if you ask me, hands down. You put him up against anybody in the league, I would say he's up there with the best of them. But yeah, Bradley Beal's just a dog, man. You can't say anything wrong about him. He does what he needs to do. Granted, he hasn't really been on a good team for a while.
I think that's the thing you can throw at him. Is just he's been the number 1 in Washington. They've paid him the number 1.
They don't give him help though.
Yeah,
that's not his fault. He does what he can do. He does all he can do, but they just don't give him help. You give him Kyle Kuzma and come on, it's Kyle. Kyle Kuzma, bro. Let's be real. He was a good addition to the team, yes, but it's still Kyle Kuzma is not a number 2 option. Ty, that is the 4th time, bro.
Get out.
Anyways, yeah. He's not. Kyle Kuzma's not a good second option to him. Like Russell Westbrook when he was there, he was the perfect number 2 option for him because he can get.
I
him the
loved
ball.
Russ in Washington.
I loved it too. He could get him the ball to the spots that he needed to in order for him to thrive and be great. If he could get another piece like that can just get to open spots, find him, get him the ball in open spots where he can shoot it in rhythm, boom, I promise you he'll be right back up there. And this one can sound crazy.
I think the reason that I had him lower is, one, he's coming off an injury. Two, I mean, when you're bringing up like Donovan Mitchell, Booker, Brown, like all these guys are older than Beal or younger than Beal. So, I mean, I'm not calling Beal old by any means. I mean, he's going into his age 29 season. But when we're talking about ceilings, 31 points per game, we've probably seen the best Bradley Beal.
I think we'll see it again. I think I guarantee he still has that game still in him. It wasn't. He did it a year ago.
Open it up for discussion. Then.
He did it not.
Yeah, crack it open.
I'm looking at the 2019-2020 Wizards roster. You know who the second leading scorer of that team was?
It was bad. They were
Rui
bad.
Hachimura. You know what he averaged? 13 and a
Who's
half.
Roy?
Rui Hachimura.
Rui.
That was his
Sorry,
rookie year, correct?
Roy.
Bradley Beal averaged
Roy
30
from
and he
Japan.
played 52 games. Rui.
Rui Hachimura. We love Rui Hachimura.
I love how the tone
Bradley Beal
difference-
played 52 games when he averaged 30, and their second highest
57
scorer,
actually.
57, and their second highest scorer averaged 13. If I
Okay.
was a Wizards fan,
So
I
then
would
look.
think that
So
Bradley
okay,
Beal's the
okay.
best
So then
shooting guard.
look at the year after. The 72 game season.
Last year or the year before, or
2020, the 72 game season.
yeah,
Was it 72?
yeah, it was cut. It was a shorter
Yep.
season.
He played 60 of those games and averaged 31.3 on 50.
What was it? Who was their second leading scorer?
Russ.
What did he average? 17?
Russ averaged like 22.
No, he did not.
Yes, he did.
No, he did not.
Yes,
On the
he
Wizards,
did.
no,
yes,
he did.
He
Not.
averaged a triple double that year. He averaged like 22, 11, and 11 or something like that.
I love the tone difference in this one. I mean, the
He
Levine,
averaged-
Alright,
the
you're
Levine
right.
debate.
Yeah, I know I'm right. I
Right,
know
it's
I know
swimming.
these by the back of my head. He averaged like 22, 11, and 11.
Bradley Beal's
So our number 6
fifth
spot.
best for me. Yeah.
Number
is
6.
Bradley Beal.
Number 6 is
Bradley
Anthony
Beal, I could
Edwards,
look
one
at
of
and
my
just be
favorite
like,
players,
you're a
nicknamed Ant.
No, I respect that. I respect that.
I don't know.
Anthony Edwards at
I
6.
don't respect Zach Levine. I mean, not Zach Levine. Anthony Edwards at 3. Do not respect that at all.
I don't care.
Anthony Edwards at 6. I had him there. Rob again. Rob's list also not present, but it's flawless at this point. Again,
Yes.
he's got the most. The most, I guess, bricks and buckets list possible. Edwards at this spot was. I don't know if anyone had him lower, to be honest. This is where technically he fell all the way, even though
He
we had some
plateaued.
higher. But again, I think this is a debate where for anyone, I'll throw to Brooklyn too, specifically because you gotta get the spotlight a little bit.
I don't really.
Edwards at 6. Is there, even though you have him there, do you think there's any spot where he could, like, if there's anyone above him, that's like it's a debate where you could flip it? Do you think that like you could put him as high as 3?
No, not 3. Definitely not 3. That was quite the overreach. I honestly say I'm comfortable leaving him at 6 because, I mean, looking at my list, I have Booker, Brown, Levine, Donovan Mitchell, Bradman.
You wouldn't
Bradley
switch.
Beal.
You wouldn't switch Beal with Ant.
It's very debatable because they have 2 different games. Like the way they play is very different. They're both very good at it. So, while Anthony Edwards is more of a slasher and he's very good at that, Beal is a certified scorer. Like, I just feel very comfortable with Edwards at 6.
Yeah, I think this is my like favorite pick. I know different for some of us, but I think that there's a clear 5, and at least in my opinion, I think the 5 above, it's a clear distinction. And I think everyone I have below Edwards
I'm calling it.
is definitely
Edwards
clear.
next year, MVP caliber season.
Oh my God. Oh my.
Hey, and slam dunk.
Oh, you can't get back in.
Close the time. Hey,
MVP
seven. No, caliber.
Are the sliders
Step up.
up or something? Like, what is going on?
Hey, John took that step up. I'm saying he
Still don't
can
even
too.
think he's the best player from his draft class, so you saying that is just absurd.
He's got it. LaMelo don't have anything on him.
LaMelo's on the TV.
Okay. See, this is, you know what? I'm not going to get into this right now.
All right, this is where I think things get interesting. The bottom half of the list. I mean, also before we go through the final 4. I mean, so far 1 has been Devin Booker, 2 Jaylen Brown, 3 Zach Levine, 4 Donovan Mitchell, 5 Bradley Beal, 6 Anthony Edwards. I also do think there's a clear drop off at this point. I think
There
the top.
definitely is. You can
Whoa,
tell.
whoa, 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 whoa.
I haven't even said a name, and you're
I'm
arguing.
saying,
with me.
what do you mean by drop off?
I think if I had to separate this list into two rankings, I think there's the top 6, and then I think there's the bottom 4.
I don't. The next name I can definitely put a.
That's
bus.
a top
I see it
4
like
name?
this. I see it like this.
That's a top 4 name.
There's a top 6, and then there's 7.
And then there's
Where
8.
It's not like a huge.
I think
it's-
6 and 7 are
it's-
like this as
it's-
well.
It's not a huge.
6 and
drop
7
off.
are definitely
It's
like this.
6 and 7 are
I was
like.
gonna say that.
For me, it's not. For me,
we'll get into that.
yeah.
We'll get into that.
Well, yeah. Let's announce number 7. Number 7, C.J. McCollum.
Also, you didn't count right. You put Tyrese Maxey at 7.
Yeah.
Did I skip him?
No.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Wait, what do you?
I switched it for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
But I like CJ McCollum last year. The second he got on the Pelicans, he was absolutely crazy. And he was on a, in quotes, better team without Dame Lillard.
So if I asked you right now, Anthony Edwards or C.J.
C.J.
McCollum,
McCollum.
like
C.J. McCollum. 100%.
Anthony Edwards or CJ McCollum? You pick
you
CJ
have
McCollum?
Edwards
picking
over
C.J.
C.J. McCollum.
I'm picking C.J. They're like this, but I'm picking C.J. McCollum.
So then,
I mean, this
I
is
would
like
not pick CJ
I'm
McCollum
picking,
or
I'm
Anthony
picking
Edwards.
C.J.
No.
McCollum. I'm picking
MVP
C.J.
season,
McCollum.
No,
Hey,
it's not
MVP
even.
If I'm looking at it,
Hey.
he went from he was on the Blazers. He
Put it-
played.
Put it on paper. It's on video. It's gonna happen.
Yes,
The Nets are winning the finals.
he went
this
from
year.
averaging 20,
It's gonna happen.
20 and a half on 43% shooting in Portland to 24.3 and 50%
again,
shooting.
but if a healthy Zion's there,
I was just gonna say that's without Zion though.
If that'd make it even better for him.
His
That was-
scoring
would-
should
The
go way
scoring
down.
going, yeah,
The
scoring.
scoring.
It wouldn't go way.
down.
It wouldn't go way down.
He's
I would.
That's 17,
I would-
18 a game with Zion.
We got
Whoa,
3 minutes.
whoa,
Yes.
whoa.
Yes.
17, 18 is crazy.
We
What do
have
you mean
honestly
crazy?
It's crazy.
coming off
How's that
of
crazy?
last
You're acting
year,
like he hasn't-
not playing like a single game. Zion
But you're-
averaging that much.
but you're at-
Zion Williamson.
but you-
yeah,
He's chunky meat right now.
I think he'll average at least. I think Zion will average.
But you're
at least
acting like
20.
he hasn't played with Dame, who's been averaging close to 30 points
and
for
he was
a
averaging
while.
20 points a game. But now, if Zion's there, you got Zion number 1. Then you got Ingram.
That's what
and
I mean.
then
You're forgetting Brandon.
and
Ingram.
also, I mean, Valanciunas takes touches away from you.
I think McCollum will be the third highest scorer on that team.
I
And will
don't-
average
I-
at 18, 19.
I think he'll be
100%.
second.
That's how it
I think he'll
goes.
be second. I really think he'll be second.
I mean,
Or it'll be like him and Ingram are like this, but they're gonna be.
it's
low-
good. It depends on who's shooting
Low
better.
to
Now this
mid
next
20s.
name, I think could be
Ahead of him,
yes.
I
No.
do.
Yes.
potentially, but
Yes.
a quick break.
Yeah.
Quick break. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's take another quick break to cool off, I guess. The final 3, we've got 8, 9, and 10 left. And when we were talking about this debate right before we cut out, I think this is the one, or out of everything, I know I just said how to clear cut this, blah, 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 but if there's any debate where I was really stuck on a pick, it was between these two where I had McCollum ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
But we've got ranked 8th in our list, Tyrese Maxey.
I think very easily he could take that spot this
No.
coming year.
Again, Jamarius is just slashing these lists. Got Maxey
Yeah,
2
I
spots
know.
lower.
I do have him at 10, but it's like I said, like how I had Levine and them like flip.
Mhm.
You could flip flop my last 3 as well.
Nick had Maxey 1 spot higher.
I did.
Whereas I think everyone else, yeah, again, I think that was the only, Jamarius was the only one that had him lower.
I had Maxey at 7.
Again, I'm comfortable putting Maxey ahead of McCollum. I don't think that's outrageous at all.
Not yet.
I'm not listening to takes from this guy over here. He said Anthony Edwards is gonna have an MVP season.
I think Maxey could easily overpass CJ McCollum.
In
this
a
year.
pretty, I mean, he went
He
from...
had Maxey had a great playoff series.
I just think with what they're saying with like James Harden, they're like, oh, he's settling down, he's getting better.
I'm on the Harden train.
Like
I'm on the Maxey train.
I
I
just
think
think
he's gonna
that
take
if-
over.
Not
If
if James Harden is
if
back to
James
being
Harden
James Harden.
steps
Well, if he's
up,
back, yeah. I mean,
If Tobias Harris averaged like 19
No,
points
Tobias
per game,
Tobias Harris still
Is the
has
4th
been-
option.
has been hit.
He's the clear 4th
Yeah,
option.
that's-
what I'm saying is like even if he averages like 17, 15, whatever, like high times.
Not Alex Len highlight.
Like, and of course Embiid's gonna be averaging what, like still 28 to 30. Like I think even though it's still on like what's it called free throws. Like I think it's like
His averaging going to depend on how James Harden wants to play.
in my opinion,
James,
I just think Give it 2 years. Tyrese Maxey be the second leading scorer of the Sixers.
Maxey over under 20.5 points this season.
Over.
I think under.
Under.
I'd say over.
I'd say
I think 21,
I
22
will
makes
say
sense.
I will say it'll depend on what James Harden we're getting this year. Because if
True.
we're getting like the
If
James
we're getting-
Harden
yeah,
from
like-
like Houston, but not necessarily like 36. But like
Even
if he gives you
playoff Harden.
like 25 to 28, and Embiid is giving you 25 to 28, Max is gonna give you 17, 19, maybe just at 20, but not over.
Fair. I think that's fair.
But if you're getting this Harden that played in the playoffs for Philly last year, you're going to get 30, 35 out of Maxey a night, at least.
What?
Harden?
Did you say 30 to 35?
Not out of a night.
Points?
Maxey had 30 his first playoff game.
But
I know, but
he's not
like-
gonna average 30
He's
for
not
the
gonna average.
year.
I'm just saying, like, he
That's
can
what
give that
that's
to
what
you.
we're
No,
talking
I think
about.
What are the takes
Maxey-
tonight? What are the
Maxey-
takes tonight?
If Harden
Yeah,
did
you have
that,
to hold on.
Maxey
Wait,
would
wait,
average,
walk
like-
it back, walk
no,
it back,
no,
walk
no,
it back,
I
walk it
didn't
back.
mean it like that.
Walk it back. You have to walk it
I'll
back.
walk it back. I'll walk it back. Maxey would average like 23, 24 if Harden wasn't.
And if he's doing that, he's ahead of McCollum for me.
That's what I mean. I think Maxey could be the second highest leading scorer. Give it 2 years.
Anthony Edwards MVP, Maxey 35 points per game in the
No,
playoffs.
I didn't. Say the next one. Just say.
All right. I think this one here, the number 9, I had Bono had Brooklyn had him one spot lower, as did Nick. Jamarius has him one spot higher. Jordan Poole, with the biggest stat, the reason that I thought he was definitely top 10. Spoiler alert for me. I have Klay Thompson not even in my top 10. I think Poole is definitely like the second best player on the Warriors. And
I'm gonna make
Andrew
a-
Wiggins.
I'm gonna make
I'm
a-
sorry,
No,
Andrew
I
Wiggins.
agree with that. It's Andrew Wiggins.
I'm
It's
gonna make
Andrew
a quick
Wiggins.
change here because I'm gonna move.
I'm gonna move
Klay
Anthony
Thompson.
Edwards from the third a little bit down.
Klay Thompson down, and I'm gonna slip in.
Thompson's way down there for me.
I'm gonna slip in Colin Sexton at 10.
Let's be real. Andrew Wiggins would have won finals. He was this player who could have won Finals MVP if it wasn't for Curry. If it wasn't Curry, it could have been Andrew Wiggins. Nobody else.
But I mean, if Curry wasn't there,
Then the
Yeah.
Celtics win that series.
Yeah.
No
Um,
landslide.
the Celtics sweep them.
I wish I had the numbers in front of me, but there was a stat of when, and obviously I don't know how much this accounts for, but when Curry wasn't healthy and Poole was there, he was averaging 26 a night.
Well, the IG baddies were in the front row, so I mean, like, hey, he has something to play for, apparently.
I just think he needs to be smarter with the shots.
Yes.
Some of the shots
But
he
I
was
also-
taking in the
I also
finals
think
were
that-
crazy.
But
What
he-
is
yeah,
this guy shooting?
He was great from the logo.
No, he was. No, I'm just.
You take out Steph, and okay, let's say you take out Steph and Draymond, right? What's really the team, or Draymond has defense? But like, what's really the team
Poole.
other than Poole and Wiggins?
I mean, without
Thompson,
Draymond, the team
Looney,
is nothing.
Kaminga.
If you
Gary
ask me-
Payton was a big part. I know
Gary
he's not there
Payton.
anymore,
Ooh,
but he
hot
was.
take. Without Draymond Green, that team is nothing.
Not
And
nothing, but
I'm
he's
standing on it.
he's undervalued.
He's
I am
undervalued,
standing on
but
that.
Not nothing.
They're nothing. I'm standing on it.
Yeah, but I think that's actually kind of crazy that all of us agree that Jordan Poole's better than Clay. Surprised there's not even an argument.
It's because like Klay barely makes his own
Let's
shot.
okay, hold on, wait. Let's
barely
hold on, time out.
Barely went
Let's
without just standing
wait
on the
before
court.
we say that. Let's give
Remember
Clay.
when?
Hold on, wait.
Remember when Clay scored 80 points over like 3 games and took like 2 dribbles?
Let's
Exactly.
give Clay a full year to get back into it, and then let's walk back to that.
I had Clay. I had Clay.
Oh, he's been hurt.
I had Clay above
He gave D-Rose
McCollum
how many
and
chances?
Poole. I had Clay.
Yeah,
above
wait, let's-
McCollum.
We are also forgetting that before Clay was hurt, he was the number 1 defender on that
I
team.
had Clay above McCollum and Poole.
Gentlemen, let's take a let's
Well,
slow
you're
it.
stupid.
Let's
I'm
slow
not
it down.
stupid.
Let's slow it down
Okay, you're
because
beautiful.
guess what? The final ranking, the number 10 in our shooting guards list is Klay Thompson,
Yeah.
right behind Poole.
I think that people are forgetting who Klay Thompson
That's
really
why-
is.
I didn't forget. I just
and
think
it's
he's already
because-
passed.
I don't know because we've seen the glimpses of old Klay throughout when he came back. If you give him a full year to get back into it from the beginning of the season to the very end, the defense is gonna get back there. The smart shots are
I was
gonna
nervous.
come back.
Yeah.
I was too,
nervous playing Klay Thompson in the finals, even with they
Like,
still
'cause-
Curry.
because Klay
I
Thompson-
was waiting for
Klay
Game
Thompson.
6 Klay.
I was waiting for Klay
Exactly.
to have his 30+ in that game.
And
Like,
plus,
I was waiting for that. His
Klay-
35 game.
Klay Thompson, he's so not undervalued, but people forget that he is a great defender. When he's locked in defensively, He is guarding the best player on the court.
But
he was the main when they were playing Cleveland. He was the main defender on Kyrie, the majority of that season. Now, granted, Kyrie had some spectacular games. He was the main defender. He played the role of the number one defender on whoever it was they were playing that night because Curry was not able to do that at that time. Curry's defense has gotten better, so it takes a little bit off of Clay, which is going to help him for next year. He doesn't have to play that high intensity defense on the best player every single time.
And I agree with all of that, just the one big thing is again when I'm projecting into next year, when obviously again I wholeheartedly agree that you can't count out Clay until you give him a full year healthy because he only played 30 games and then he was thrown in the playoffs.
Yep.
But at the same time, when you're talking all about the past about his defense, like the shooting, that's the most guaranteed part of his game that's going to stick. But again, you're coming off a knee injury, an Achilles injury, and all of a sudden you're in your age 32 season. And what happens if he misses some time again this year? I think the same thing I said about Beal. We've seen the best Klay Thompson, and that's why he didn't even crack my list. I mean, he was number 11. I had Gary Trent Jr. ahead of him.
I can see that, but don't get me wrong. But like you said, though, the shooting, that's not going to change. I feel like that's still why. That's why I still feel like why he's still in the top 10 because once he gets
I can
hot,
understand that.
Once Klay Thompson gets hot, he turns
You can
into
forget about it.
one of, if not the best shooter on the
But I
court. It's
still
insane.
think that there's a hard if there.
What do you mean there's a hard
What do you mean
if? When
what do you
Clay
mean
gets
it's
hot,
hard?
there's no stopping him.
What I'm
So
saying
where's
is,
the hard if at?
You're coming off of an Achilles injury and an
But what
ACL
does
tear. Like, I
but
feel
what
like-
does that do with shooting? That has nothing
No, but I
to do
know,
with
but that's
shooting.
what I was saying though. I was saying, yeah, the defense isn't there, but
Like,
because his shooting is still there, that means he has
He's
to.
still gonna give
at
you-
least he still
needs to
barely
make a
cracks
little bit
that.
of space. Like him and Steph
What?
are the main thing.
Whoa,
like,
space. He never needed space.
He's catch and shoot.
He would put.
What space does
But
Klay
he
Thompson
would
need?
still put what's it called? He's like a pick and roll genius.
But
Like the thing is, yeah, he would need to just move around. But sure, like
You
if
can
you're,
still
if
do
you're,
that.
If you're like moving at like 2 miles per hour, I feel like you're not gonna be doing anything like that. Plus,
His
like
speed didn't-
but also his main
His
thing was
speed didn't
defense.
drastically change. What are you talking about?
I mean,
He's still somewhat agile.
Off of these injuries, we're not going to see the same Klay. that
No,
we did
first,
before.
absolutely not.
But-
He was learning to adapt his game in the middle of a playoff push. If he starts at the beginning and adapts, it's going to be a lot easier for him.
I gotta look at what he did in the playoffs. That's what I want to see here because again, in the finals, there were some games where he really struggled.
I think
with
he
his
was
did.
forcing it a lot.
He averaged. That's his career. He averages 19, 4, and 2 in the playoffs for his career, which hey,
You know what's the funny nickname?
not bad.
You know what's the funny nickname? Rudy Gay and Colin Sexton.
So a couple names that we left off the list. Honorable mentions. I'm not gonna put them into any order. Just names that we wrote down. Norman Powell, Tyler Hero was a big one.
Yeah,
He's
I-
at the bottom of my list, and he deserves to be there.
Whoa!
He's
Time
at the
out.
bottom
time
of my
out.
list, and he
Why?
deserves to be there.
Why?
I-
Because he cooked you guys in the playoffs in the bubble. Is that why?
Actually, no, he's not. Norman Powell's at the bottom of my list.
See, I know he's at the bottom of my list. I
He
have.
cracked your top 10.
He cracked my top 10. I'm a big Tyler Hero guy. I just think that I think that he's for what he gives you, he doesn't get enough credit for it.
Oh, what are you talking
I just don't. I don't
He gets
think.
more credit than he
I don't.
deserves.
I don't think so.
He gets a
I think
lot of
this
credit.
year definitely not. This year he was getting a lot of hate for reasons I do not know why.
I think
groin injury. He was
like,
playing terrible in the
Brothers
playoffs.
are the worst people I've ever seen on this planet.
and he is not good in the clubhouse.
No, he's not.
Oh right.
And he's unloyal.
And I think he's just. I mean, granted he's younger, but he's not that far
like a
off from
frat boy
Jordan
in the
Clarkson.
NBA.
No, he's not.
Like not play style wise, when you're looking at the numbers, the efficiencies,
What's the difference
the
between him and
ratings.
Poole? Tell me one thing.
I like Poole more.
What's the difference, though? They're the same thing.
What's the
They both come off the bench. They both give you 18, 19. What's the difference?
The win shares.
Oh, yeah, don't get me wrong.
The win shares.
I mean, I definitely think Poole can
Poole
be
is
better,
more
though.
efficient.
Yeah, I think Poole can be better.
I think in the long run, Poole definitely can. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say definitely. I think when it's all said and done, once they hit their peak, they're gonna have the same peak.
We also have to remember
you know, it's
how.
crazy that we didn't mention Josh Hart in here.
Josh Hart.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
Desmond Bain.
Tyler Hero.
Honorable mention too. We also had Desmond Bain.
to keep
Josh Hart.
well,
No, THG.
Josh Hart was right there.
before we wrap up on the Tyler Hero
Cam
thing,
Thomas.
again, I think the biggest thing that separates him from Poole, you're looking at the playoff minutes, like he was not good.
No.
12 points per game, was shooting, 40%, like just barely over 40% from the field.
What were his minutes?
He got 25 a night. He was taking 12 shots a night though.
Anyone mention Jeremy Lamb?
Greatest half-court game.
Who else was not? Norman Powell, Jordan Clarkson, or
UConn legend.
Anthony Simons was on your list.
Yeah.
I took him off my list because I put Colin Sexton in.
Nah, that's crazy. I honestly like Simon.
Desmond
I do too. I had
He's
him-
almost a
I
point
had
guard,
him-
but he plays a two.
I had him in my
You
top
see both.
15, but
That's
I-
why like the
I
whole
just forgot
position
about
things
Colin
are very
Sexton, so I wanted to put
very
him in.
like
Okay.
because like I was telling you earlier, Paul George is listed as a shooting guard, but he plays the 3. James Harden is I don't care. James Harden is a shooting guard.
But he's
I
playing
don't-
the point in Philly.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly. Like LeBron, power forward, but he's a small forward.
Oh
Yeah.
my god. I can't forget
so-
about Ron Baker.
Shut up. Right before we wrap up, I think one thing we could wrap around, just to go over everything, for the bricks and buckets list specifically, or just whatever we mentioned, just say what you think is what the best take was, whether you think it's just Booker being the number 1, even though I'm looking at you, Nick, and you don't have him there.
Nah, I think it's Jalen being my number 1.
And one of my favorite lines that Jamarius hasn't thrown out yet today is whenever he hears something so bold and goes, "That's nasty."
That's nasty.
Like what was the? I think I know the answer already.
Oh,
but
the
what
nastiest thing was when this dude right here said Anthony Edwards is the top 3 shooting guard in the league.
Josh, you wait.
That is nasty,
Josh,
bro.
you wait.
That's nasty and atrocious on so many levels, bro.
Hey.
Like you're gonna. Oh my god.
You're gonna see.
Okay.
I'm gonna see it.
You're gonna see.
Hey,
Nick,
you know what? You know who saw? Yuta Watanabe.
Nick, your favorite, least favorite.
My favorite was my Jalen Brown take. My least favorite.
Bias.
Yeah, probably. My least favorite. Probably your Bradley Beal being the number 1 shooting
That's
guard.
biased.
I think that's
I love
it.
that.
It was.
I love that.
I'm not gonna lie. It was a little biased.
Yeah.
If you,
I loved it.
Nah.
Honestly, I think he.
I could see
I'ma stick to
see
it.
top 5, not number 1.
no,
I couldn't see number 1.
lowest house putting was top
You know,
3. So
you know
it's,
where number 1 is? Top 5. So get that
Uh,
right.
I can't see at the 1 spot. But I can see within the top.
Jamarius, we know your nastiest pick. What was your favorite? Is it Beal at 1?
actually, no, Jalen Brown at 2.
Okay.
I think that he has the potential to be number 1. Like if there's anybody on this list that can be the number 1 shooting guard in the league, it is Jalen Brown, and that is wholeheartedly me. Just as a basketball guy, Jalen Brown plays both ends as 100% every single night. He's gonna give you great defense. He's gonna give you great scoring when you need it the most. Not just go out there and just I'm gonna give you 20, but he'll give you 20 points when you need 20 points the most, and that's why I say he has the potential to be the number 1 shooting guard in the league next year.
All right, Bono. Let's do these 3 rapid fire so we can send it to the
Okay,
outro.
my favorite and my least favorite pick is Anthony Edwards at 3. That's it.
Your best favorite.
That is so
my own
nasty on
pick.
so many levels.
I think that my favorite pick that I think of the list, again, I'm going to say like this. Anthony Edwards at 6. I'm going to keep bringing up the name, but that's where I think the top half of shooting guards end, as weird, even though he's 6, even though you're on the bottom half. But I think the top 6 are definitely at a spot, and then I think it's the bottom 4. I think my least favorite pick, I don't want to throw you in the shade, but Beal at 1 I think is a little...
It was biased. It
a little
was
crazy.
biased.
A little
It was
crazy.
biased.
What about you, Brooklyn?
For me, I'd say my favorite was my pick. I was saying, when Nick came at me for saying like you put Ant behind Brad, like they're both good in different ways, like in the way they play basketball. I think that's a very valid statement, and like their play styles are completely different. My least favorite pick was absolutely Bono putting Anthony Edwards top 3.
Hey, just you wait. Just you wait.
Oh, before we end off, I just want to say, even though my Bradley Beal take might rub some people the wrong way, once he goes up there at the beginning of the season and starts cooking every one of your favorite players, I don't want to hear a single word from nobody.
I like how he looks at the mic.
Not a single word.
No, the camera's
Not a single word from nobody, because Bradley Beal is still that guy on so many levels, and I don't want to hear a single word otherwise. Thank you very
What
much.
she said, but about Anthony Edwards.
Shut up, Bono. Bono, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
But yeah, I think that's going to do it for Bricks and Buckets this week. I still am fuzzy with this outro, but make sure to follow the socials. Twitter, Instagram, and the YouTube is going to be Bricks Buckets. Or I said the Instagram. I messed it up
Yeah,
already.
you did.
Twitter and YouTube is going to be Bricks and Buckets. Or Bricks Buckets, sorry.
Bricks Buckets. Instagram is Bricks and Buckets. And, of course, follow SCTV3 on all of their socials, all on TV,
Shameless
whatever.
plug.
Yeah,
Anyway,
shout
whatever.
shout you guys out. Shout the Twitters out real quick.
Follow Bingo. Whatever
Follow
that
me on
is.
Twitter at nsterlazi.
Don't look for my Twitter. I don't know what's on it. I've been on Twitter for about a year, but you can follow my Instagram at they call me Brooklyn23.
Except his name's Daniel.
That's
Shout
also
out-
in my bio. Don't worry.
Shout out my Twitter at Jamarius Russell, or shout out my podcast. My podcast Twitter at The Red Letter. We're gonna start back
Yo,
up
keep
soon.
this camera up. Don't.
Very soon. Very soon. I do look at the microphone a lot. I don't know why. It's a very beautiful microphone. So whoever's
I
microphone it
spent
is.
good money on it.
It's very beautiful. Shout out the podcast Twitter at The Red Letter Podcast. We will be back soon.
Of course, I'm Nico.
Hold on, we have to shout out one more person. Ty Coney, because he sucks.
Oh,
And my name's Bono,
I'm Brooklyn.
I'm Nick.
I'm Jamarius.
and we'll see you whenever.
So bad.